On tonight's episode of the Mike Pressler Show, we break down the Bulldogs' wins over Providence College and Sacred Heart. We sit down with assistant coach Casey Broderson, and we look at the week ahead, including games against Mount St. Mary's and Holy Cross. It's all coming up here next on the Mike Pressler Show on Cox Sports Television. Well, good evening and welcome to the Mike Pressler Show. We're here at Blackie's Bulldog Tavern in Smithfield, Rhode Island. I'm Mike Mancuso, joined as always by the head coach of the Bryant Bulldogs, Mike Pressler. And Coach, another great week for your team. We'll start with the good news. For the first time in program history, you guys have cracked the top 20. You're 19th in the coaches poll and 20th in the media poll. You got to be proud about that.
You know, it's great. Some great mid-season notoriety for the team. You know, you go 7-2. You know, we were 6-0 in the month of March. So I'm happy for the players. I'm certainly happy for the boys, the program, the administration, and all. But it's really kind of meaningless in the long run.
Right.
As I said to the team today, it's meaningless in April 1st, but it could be meaningful on May 1st.
Absolutely. And we sound like a broken record at times, but for the 5th time now this season, 3rd week in a row, Kevin Massa, the NEC Rookie of the Week, against Providence, 9-17 on faceoffs, and against Sacred Heart, 13 of 21, and even had the game-winning goal, his first of his career.
What do you say? I mean, every day, I mean, every game, week in and week out, he just continues to do this at a high level, and quite remarkable. Again, I'm just we pinch ourselves. This has been 9 games in a row, and you know, teams are certainly game playing against him now. They know who he is,
right,
and he figures out a way to get it done at the faceoff X.
Absolutely, he certainly has done that this season. Now we look at game number 8. It was against Providence College on the road for one of your so-called high school trips, the down and back on the same day. You wound up winning that one 9-4. It improved you guys to 6-2 at the time, and was the first part of the Ocean State Cup, which includes games against Brown and Providence. It was your 5th straight win, and you played it on AstroTurf, which was a little bit different, but you still got the victory in that contest.
You know, this Providence game is always a battle. It was a 5-4 game, you know, late in the 3rd quarter. We fortunately pulled away in the 4th quarter to win it. You know, obviously we have Brown on Tuesday, very similar type of circumstances, 10 miles away. But any win on the road is certainly a good one, especially against your local rival.
Yep, absolutely. So the game was tied 3-3. Then you scored 2 goals in the final 2:10 of the 2nd quarter. You took a 5-3 lead at the break, and then you outscored PC 4-1 the rest of the way. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that game.
The huge save. That's the start of the 3rd quarter. They get a fast break off the face-off. And this is Travis Harrington on inside roll, left-handed. Gives us a little breathing room there. I think a 2-goal lead. You know, great play by Colin Dunster to his line, made a through ball. All in the 2nd half. Another great save by Jamison Love, and they're doing a little team shutting off, and Colin Dunster just runs by their best pole. That might have been the 8th or 9th goal there.
Yeah, that made it 8-4 at the time.
You know, Kevin Massa off the face-off, and a great one more by Mason Poley to Cody Isdaner.
And that was Isdaner's 11th tally of the season.
This is double teaming the ball with the goal open, trying to get it back, and Colin Dunster just kind of out-athleting everybody. Jamison at the end of the game, we're playing a little zone there.
And Jamison Love finishing the day with 11 saves on 15 shots, good for a .733 save percentage. Right now he's 4th in the nation in save percentage and 3rd in saves per game. But looking back at that game against PC, you had 7 different goal scorers again, and you were led in that one in points by Alex Sommerfeld, 2 goals and an assist. But I think more impressively, the defense only allowed 1 goal in the entire 2nd half.
Well, I think the D played pretty well, but Jay was spectacular. You know, Jamison, one of his best games, and as I said before, you know, with that new group on defense, we break down once in a while, and number 35 always seems to be there to bail those guys out in front of him. And there's no doubt Jamison's having an All-American year.
Absolutely.
9 games.
And one of the other statistics that kind of jumped out at me, ground balls, 38-22 in your favor. And as of right now, you're number 1 in the nation in ground balls per game at 38.8. So quite an impressive thing. You guys really getting after it on the loose balls.
You know, other than the goals and assists, that's the number 1 stat in our sport. And very surprising, kind of shocked that we're number 1 in the nation. But I think a lot of that has to do with what we're doing at the face-off X. You know, we're gaining so many more possessions off the loose ball and off the ground ball. That's kind of inflating those stats, and and certainly thrilled to be the #1 ground ball team in the country right now.
Yeah. And now, what unit or aspect of the game were you most impressed with or happy with against Providence?
I would say our loose balls at the defensive end. You know, we kind of made it a one-and-done game. You know, if they put it on the ground or we did, we picked it up and cleared it, so we gave Providence no second chances.
Yeah. Now, that built a little bit of momentum, or kept the momentum going as you headed into NEC play. It was at home. You guys were supposed to play at Bulldog Stadium against Sacred Heart, but kind of the weather really kind of messed up those plans. You got a little bit of snow here, and you had to move that game to the track and turf complex. Now, how big a factor was that in the mindset when you guys are ready to play on grass and at the last second you have to switch to turf?
I don't think it was, you know, we play on both. That was not an issue at all for us. You know, I think a little bit of snow, we didn't, you know, we got a lot of games left in the grass stadium, and we didn't want to, quote, kind of ruin the field this early in the season and then kind of fight an uphill battle getting the field ready. So from that point of view, it was the right decision, and you know, we practice on turf a whole lot, so not a big deal.
Now the final score wound up being 11-8 and improved you guys to 7-2 and 1-0 in NEC play. It's the 6th straight win. What's been the biggest factor in keeping the momentum moving in the right direction?
Our ability to play, be ready to play game in and game out, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And I give the leadership to the captains and the seniors have done a great job with that leadership, making sure the team in general is ready to play. And you know, again, we work at it, we prepare. This team practices at a high level, and there's a reason why we've won a few games in a row, and the credit goes to the kids. And we have their attention. They do what they're told to do, and you know, we just take care of the process on a daily basis.
Now, you guys were up 5-0 early in the second quarter against Sacred Heart, and then they made it 7-6 by the end of the third quarter, in which they actually held you guys scoreless in that third quarter. But then you went on to outscore them 4-2 in the fourth. Why don't we take a look at some of the highlights and see what got us to that point?
You know, Connor Dent, one of our closer Frenchmen, defenseman, on a break here to Peter McMahon, and actually we get a little tip in off them for the first goal of the game.
And that was Peter McMahon's 12th goal of the season. It was unassisted.
Again, off the face-off here. You know, we're a dangerous team when we win the ball, and coming down here, Kevin Massa, a great handle to Mason Poley. We've seen that before. Mason on the run.
Mason on the run indeed. That was his 8th tally of the year.
You know, Max Wiesenberg, a huge through ball to Colin Dunster there in the fourth quarter to give us a little bit of a cushion at 8-6. And then the ensuing face-off, I believe, you know, they violate. Kevin Massa kind of, they press him a little bit. He runs by their face-off guy, splits a double team. First goal of the year, couldn't come at a better time.
Did prove to be the game winner as well. First career goal for Kevin Massa.
You know, this Alex Sommerfeld on an invert here. I believe they foul him, and then there's a loose ball in front, and Colin Dunster being at the right place at the right time. Lets the game come to him, picks it up, and throws it in the goal.
Yeah, some more razzle-dazzle there from Colin Dunster, the behind-the-back shot. And that made it 10-7 at the time. So final score 11-8 as you guys take down Sacred Heart. Second straight game with 7 goal scores. Again, Colin Dunster with 3, Peter McMahon with 2, and Mason Poley with a goal and an assist. Again, Massa with a goal and 13 of 21 on face-offs. As we take a look at the numbers again, ground balls, an incredible 53-30. What was the big difference there against Sacred Heart?
Well, I think the constant was the face-off again, but our ability to pick up the loose balls at the offensive end, I think our starting attack had 13 and only 4 turnovers in the game, and that was huge for us. That's a trend that we haven't necessarily had the last couple of games. And then Glenn Mayrano was the player of the game. He shuts down their best attackman. You know, he had 6 grounders on his own and then 4 caused turnovers. So, you know, not only are we getting a lot of loose ones in the middle of the field, we're getting them at the offensive end, giving us second chances, and then the D continues to make it a one-and-done game.
Absolutely. So 2 big wins for the Bulldogs this week. They'll have 2 more games coming up this week. When we return, we will have assistant coach Casey Broderson here on the Mike Pressler Show on Cox Sports Television.